Good evening, fellow patrons. In today's video, we will be diving into the strategy I used to complete the starting room challenge on Terminus with no Gobblegums. This is definitely the hardest challenge I've completed in my 16 years playing Call of Duty Zombies. It took more attempts than I could count to figure out the best way to complete this challenge. I've included the gameplay of the entire match to show you guys that no gums were used, and I've included chapters throughout the video on different strategies or tips that I would recommend y'all implement to successfully complete this challenge. Alrighty, let's get into it. So for my loadout, I went with the XM4, which I will detail its build here in a second. But in my opinion, loading in with an assault rifle is essential because you need the drill charge to kill the Manglers and the Amalgams at the higher rounds. For my tactical equipment, I went with the always trusty decoy over the shock charge. The main reason why I chose the decoy is because if you end up with Vulture Aid during your game and you do have the Picky Eater augment equipped, you will be able to find and pick up a lot more decoys than shock charges since the decoys are unlocked at a lower level, which increases their spawn rate. And for lethal equipment, the combat axe is a must because it's always a one throw kill. You can pick it up afterwards and you can carry up to 5 at a time. And then for my field upgrade, I used Frost Blast, which I will detail in the augment section of this video. I chose Frost Blast over Ether Shroud because it exponentially increases your damage while at the same time protects you if you end up getting trapped by the zombies or a special or elite. I usually prefer to use the Krig or Cypher as my starting gun in more serious runs like this, but I think the XM4 is the best weapon for this particular challenge because of its best-in-class ammo capacity and the 3-round burst modification. The most important attachment on the gun is definitely the drill charge. This thing is honestly OP. It's extremely effective if you make direct impact on the Manglers and the Amalgams. Without this attachment, I'm really not sure if you'd be able to make it to round 30 unless you're using Gobblegums. With the extended mag 2, the XM4 can shoot 100 rounds without having to reload. This is especially helpful not only in the earlier rounds when the normal bullet damage is still effective, but it saves you significant amount of time in the later rounds if an insta-kill spawns in. You have a good chance of completing the round without reloading if you stumble upon an insta-kill. The 3-round burst attachment also drastically increases the headshot multiplier and overall damage of the gun and reduces the gun's recoil pattern. Pair this with the steady aim laser and you really don't need to aim in at all. You may ask why I have a suppressor on the gun when there is no salvage in this challenge. Although it is not confirmed, I do think if you have a suppressor attached, you have a higher likelihood of an RNG giving you favorable drops in terms of power-ups and equipment. Like I said, this isn't confirmed, but from my experience, it seemed that more things were dropping when I had a suppressor on my gun. This snippet goes through all the augments I had equipped specifically for this challenge. The game's RNG, which stands for Random Number Generator, will most likely give you 4 perks as you progress through the rounds on the way to round 30. The augments that I found to be essential for this particular challenge have a star next to their name, so that's really PhD Flopper and Vulture Aid. I recognized a few patterns in terms of the perks the RNG would end up giving me based off of the first perk that I received, which is typically before round 8 of every match. Whenever I would receive Deadshot or Elemental Pop as my first perk, Jug would almost always be in the 4 I was given. In this particular match, I received Jug first, which only happened once. I would estimate that I attempted this challenge around 25 to 30 times. Most of these attempts were early quits because my first 2 perks I were given were not ideal, so I'd end up restarting. I would say I had probably around 10 attempts where I reached round 20 or higher. And if Melee Macchiato or Death Perception were the first perk I was given, I never received Juggernaut. I would honestly recommend restarting if you end up with either one of these 2 perks first. If you activate Rampage Inducer in the early rounds, it takes around 3 to 4 minutes to reach round 8, which is really not a lot of time. Also, don't forget to equip the augments Ice Slick and extra charge augments for Frost Blast prior to loading in. These augments are especially helpful for when you are dealing with the Amalgams throughout your match.
In one ear, out the other.
Insta-kill. Tear them to pieces!
Kinda surprised the windscreen didn't take you out already.
Max ammo!
To be honest, we've got bigger bugs to fry. Honestly!
Random perk!
Oh, fuck off! With nubs on!
Max armor! Double points!
Yuck! That's like a rotten watermelon falling off a shelf.
You'll want to start each round in the lower level of the security overlook portion of the map. This is the most crucial part of each round in my opinion. The early stage of each round is essentially a battle for position between you and the zombies. And what I mean by this is that the zombies spawning from the sidewall and from inside will shrink the lower level you see me on, and it will cause you to want to retreat up the stairs and back inside. If you retreat up the stairs too early before zombies have stopped spawning, you'll at some point become trapped between the stairs and the doorway, which will cause you to either use your field upgrade prematurely or go down. To ensure you have enough space to turn around and maneuver back to the other side of the lower level, try to get as close as you can to the sidewall spawns as possible prior to making your move to the other side. This is where if you have PhD Flopper, the PhD Slider, and Tribologist Augments will make it much easier to reach the sidewall spawns safely prior to turning around. This technique will give you the maximum amount of space to navigate to the lower level until the majority of the zombies have spawned in. Once the majority of the zombies have spawned in, you can retreat up the stairs to start killing the zombies at a safer distance. I advise starting this around round 8, that way you ease into operating in such a small space safely.
Bonus points!
worried. Not even for a second.
Kaboom! Tear them to pieces! Max ammo.
Try your best to avoid mantling over this railing while the zombies are still spawning in. If you attempt to mantle the railing at the same time as a zombie is spawning in from one of the side walls, you will not be able to successfully mantle over the railing. I have a clip from one of my attempts showing you what happens in this scenario.
Max armor.
This must be that flow state Carver told me about. Oh, that looked painful.
Random perk.
This is the location of where the first Mangler spawns in every match. I recommend having your drill charge ready to fire. Try to shoot the Mangler while he is still out of the map, and then shoot him a second time right when he crawls to the sidewall. That way you can pick up any loot he may be carrying.
We all play the hand we're dealt. Not my fault you got a shitty one.
Insta-kill.
Decoy thrown! That's what happens when you bring teeth and claws to a gunfight.
Double points.
Honestly, you're better off. Your face was your worst feature.
Double points. Bonus points.
Why do I feel like I just went the distance with a heavyweight champion?
Tear them to pieces. Max ammo.
The first amalgam will always spawn in at round 16. The location of its spawn depends on where you are at the start of the round. You want to start the round where you see me because you will want to make your way over to the Tentacle Trap once he spawns in from the window across from me. Make sure you have your drill charge reloaded, ready to fire, and full on ammo. Once the amalgam is near the trap, activate it and then deploy your Frostblast field upgrade. The timing of this is tricky. The charge of one charge lasts 5 seconds. In case you did not know, your weapons will inflict around 300% more damage to enemies within the Frost Blast radius. The Ice Lick augment will also cause Amalgams to slip and fall down, giving you more time to shoot and reload your drill charge. So the goal is to inflict as much damage as possible while Frost Blast is active. In this instance, I deployed the charge a bit further from the trap than I would have liked. If you place it directly under the trap, you're in good shape. Be extremely careful of getting too close to the Amalgam while he is under the trap. He is still able to pull you in even if the trap is active. If he pulls you in and the trap is active, it's an instant down.
Random perk.
Consider that a critical observation. You're not the first army defeated by the cold. Ask Ravenel. Holy shit! Did anyone else see that? Weaver! Anyone? Bloody hell! Did anyone see that?
Insta-kill. Tear them to pieces. Max ammo.
Towards the end of every round, you will most likely find yourself in the cell block area of the starting room after you activate the trap. Avoid the back room that you see me here at all costs. This is why I did not deploy my second charge of Frost Blast on the Amalgam, because I save it for emergencies like this. Along with its massive damage boost, Frost Blast will insta-kill all normal zombies and slow specials, freeing up an escape route. Once you have dealt with the Amalgam, I would highly recommend switching to your melee weapon and using the combat axe exclusively. Your melee weapon will provide you with a speed boost, and bullet weapons are not strong enough to kill zombies at a quick enough pace, while the drill charge takes too long to reload. The combat axe allows for quick kills without making you focus too much on consistently aiming. Be careful where you throw your combat axe, especially if you have just one, as they can end up in the cells and you will not be able to retrieve it. I would advise aiming downward before you throw it just to be safe. Once you have eliminated enough zombies to give yourself some breathing room, turn your attention toward the Manglers. If the trap is no longer activated, return to the security overlook's lower level, refill your ammo, and use the drill charge to eliminate the Manglers to end the round.
Bullseye!
Scorestreaks are a rare occurrence in this challenge based on my experience. Out of all of my attempts, this was my second mutant injection, which I totally botched. I did not mean to deploy it here at all. Do not bank on getting a mutant injection. A common score streak that I kept seeing dropping in my attempts was the death machine, which is honestly the score streak that is most helpful for this challenge. The reason why the score streak is preferable is because you are able to deploy it until it runs out of ammo. With 350 bullets, you can make quick work of the 4 amalgams you will face during this challenge, but try your best not to use any score streaks to kill the first amalgam. Most of the score streaks that dropped in my attempts were dropped in before the first amalgam spawns, which is round 16. I honestly think the manglers are more of a hassle to deal with than the amalgams because when they shoot their cannons, they often knock down zombies who will then block your route when you're training the zombies at the beginning of rounds. If you are able to kill the round 16 amalgam without using any ammo in your death machine, you will have leftover ammo to deal with the manglers at higher rounds. You need to use whatever score streak you pick up sparingly or save it for rounds 25 or greater. My plan was to defeat the amalgam with the strategy you have seen me use earlier in this video, defeat the last bug round, and then use the mutant injection to finish out the later rounds with Rampage on. If you do stumble upon a mutant injection, I would highly recommend turning on Rampage Inducer shortly before you deploy it, that way you can maximize its killing power. An extremely underrated score streak in this challenge is the RCXD. You can use the maneuver you see in the smaller clip on screen now to pass more than an entire round. Zombies cannot reach the RCXD when it is positioned like this atop the ammo box. Make sure your character is in the prone position prior to deploying or you will block zombies from reaching the RCXD.
Kaboom!
War machine, firing for effect. Grade prepping war machine. War machine, firing for effect.
Insta-kill! Tear them to pieces!
Goodness me! It's all go round here! Soon some craniectomies done here. Never thought I'd perform one.
Max ammo.
I would advise against switching between field upgrades like I did in this video. I switched to Ether Shroud as it provides more protection than Frost Blast. However, when you switch field upgrades, the progress of your charge is erased, and when you switch, trap kills do not count towards your charge progress. From this point forward, I did not have a field upgrade until round 29.
Max armor.
Another thing that helped me significantly was using my pause time efficiently. I'm not sure if it has to do with the lame cartoon effect Treyarch added to this challenge, but frame rate drops were a problem for me in every attempt. If you experience frame rate drops, I would recommend you pause your game for your system to catch up. I also often pause the game in panic situations so I could think through my next steps.
infested! Catching up! Could have been luck! Or post-imprisonment rage. appreciate it.
Kaboom!
Waypoint marked.
Something to be mindful of is going under the Tentacle Trap, which has caused a lot of my downs in my attempts. If you do not have Juggernaut, it will cause you to instantly go down. If you do not have the Probiotic Augment equipped for Jug, which increases your max health to 300, you will also go down if you are not at full health. You are able to slide underneath and through the trap safely, however the timing of this is tricky if you are used to sliding with the Tribologist Augments equipped on PhD Flopper. If you can avoid going under the trap at all while it is still active, I would highly recommend you doing so.
Serves you right for not killing me when you had the chance.
Random perk.
This feels underhanded. But hey, it works.
You stink of fear.
If I keep this up, everything's dandy. Well, not dandy, but you know what I mean.
Tear them to pieces.